Sijara Eubanks joins the show. Sijara, how are you?
I'm fantastic, man. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. Are you still mad at me, Sijara?
Man, I don't know. So, listen, we're going to be okay because one of your guys called me Sriracha on your after show, and then you corrected him. So, for that, I'm going to let you off the hook. It's Sijara Eubanks. Everybody out there been messing it up. So, no, we're good. We're okay.
Okay, I appreciate that. How often do people mispronounce your name, by the way?
All the time since I was a kid.
I can imagine. You have one of those names. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's one of those names. It's one of those names. Once you say it, once you get it, it's not that bad. But if you just look at it on paper without hearing it, it throws people off. But you know how it is. I've been correcting people my whole life. It's okay.
All right. There's so much to get to here, so let's jump right into it. You're taking on Roxanne Modafferi. It'll be UFC 230. So that's the end of the conversation. Let's start it where it began. Tell me from your perspective how the fight offer against Valentina Shevchenko came your way.
It came out the blue. Ali called me up, said, "How much do you weigh?" I said, "Man, my weight's good." And he was like, "You're fighting for the title November 3rd." And I was ecstatic. I was through the roof. I had a feeling when Nico got stripped that Valentina was going to want to turn around and fight soon. And so after Nico got stripped, I kind of had it in the back of my head, like, you know what? I think something's going to happen. And I was like, let me just stay in shape. Let me just train. And I had a fight signed already, so it was pretty easy for me to stay motivated. And then they had signed Valentina and Joanna, and I still kind of was like, I don't know, something isn't quite settled here. And I'm going to just stay positive. And Ali called me out the blue one weekend and was like, 5 weeks, you're fighting for the title at Madison Square Garden. And I was jumping around. I was super excited, biggest moment of my life. And I was pumped. Honestly, I didn't even ask if it was Valentina. I just was like, let's do it. And then it was like 2 days later, I was like, this is Valentina, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool.
Did you sign a bout agreement?
Yes, I did. I signed a bout agreement.
Wow. Okay. Now, you signed it the day you got called or the 48 hours afterwards? Like, how fast did this all happen?
It happened pretty quickly. So I first got the call, and I signed the bout agreement within 2 days. So not quite 2 days later, but I believe it was within like 24-ish hours of when I got the call.
Okay. So then you're thinking, all right, 5 rounds, main event. I'm wondering your reaction to the reaction out there. In fact, Joe Rogan saying he didn't even know who you were, and there were some other people. Looking back on it, what did you make of the response once that fight was announced?
I didn't care. I knew people weren't going to like it. MMA fans are spoiled, and we're in kind of a day and age. We're kind of in a day and age of MMA where the super fights are what sells, and not so much like people working through the ladder and proving their thing. So, I mean, I knew people weren't going to like it, but why not? I went out there and antagonized people a little bit. It was the biggest opportunity of my career at that point offered to me. How do you say no? And then when people kind of gave me a negative backlash, like, to me, it was just setting up what I had planned to be the most perfect Rocky moment. But like the underdog gets signed for this huge bout against this super supposed dominant champion. Like no one's counting. No one thinks she's going to win. Everyone thinks she's going to get smashed. Everyone hates this. And I think the biggest backlash was just the fact that we were the main event. I don't think it was so much that I got the title fight. People were just mad that we were the main event. And I didn't care. I went on Twitter. I poked at a bunch of people. I talked a bunch of shit. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what anybody thinks. You know, it's just I'm here to accomplish my goals and achieve my dreams. So it is what it is.
Did you ever, by the way, get a chance to reach out to Joe? Usually he's pretty friendly about stuff like that if someone reaches out.
I tweeted him. He didn't tweet me back, but Joe's going to know. Joe knows who I am. He knows who I am before I said it. He didn't have to say that on his blog. I thought it was disrespectful. Me and Joe still, I'm not happy with Joe Rogan, and he can't avoid interviewing me one day. One day he's going to find himself in a cage with me and a mic, and I'm going to let him know exactly how I feel.
All right. Well, that should be an interesting day. All right. So how many days, I can't even remember the timeline now. How many days passed before that announcement was made? So you versus Valentina at MSG, before everything came, well, okay, you got the Modafferi fight, but in terms of the main event, before everything collapsed, how long were you how long did that take place?
About 7 or 8 days. I don't know exactly, honestly, but I remember it had to have been about 8 days. I remember I signed the bout on a Monday, and we had just under 5 weeks left. And then I found out on a Tuesday because I was teaching my cardio kickboxing class, and I remember my cousin's flying up from Florida he comes to all my fights, and he's like, bro, your fight's canceled. And I'm like, nah, no way. I would know if my own fucking fight was canceled. Like, you're bugging. He's like, nah, I think your fucking fight's canceled. And I go on to Twitter, my fucking fight is canceled. So I remember that being a Tuesday night. So we're going to say 8 days. So 8 days I was preparing to fight for UFC flyweight title.
Okay. So once you found out it was canceled, did you call anyone from the UFC? Did they eventually make contact with you? Maybe your manager did? Like, what's the process there?
So I hit up Ali, and Ali didn't answer at first, and my heart dropped. I was like, oh, man, because I figured Ali kind of found out the same way I did. And so when he didn't pick up, I knew it was bad news. I was like, oh, man. And then I just started blowing him up. He picked up. He's like, man, I'm sorry. And I was like, listen, let me speak to Dana White. I want to speak to Dana. He's like, I was like, Ali, put Dana White on the phone. So I ended up speaking to Dana. I ended up more like yelling at Dana. I have a pattern of yelling at Dana, I guess, in any of our interactions. I just screamed at Dana, and I let him know, man, like not only you're taking this away from me, but you're taking it away from me in a fucked up kind of way. And I told him, I told Dana, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell everybody, y'all fucked up because y'all passed up on what was going to be the biggest upset in probably women's MMA history. I was going to put Valentina on her ass. I was going to show up and show out at Madison Square Garden. I was going to get my fucking belt, and I was going to shut everybody the fuck up, and I was going to have a blast. It was going to be fucking amazing. I was like, y'all passed up on something fucking major. You just dropped the fucking ball major, and that's y'all fucking fault. And you got to fix it. You got to fix this. And I went back and forth with Dana. I went back and forth with Mick. I think they liked what I said. We went back and forth with Ali, and we kind of tossed the ideas around and made phone calls and made a lot of hoo-ha for the next couple of hours before we settled on Roxanne. So
okay, so when you were
go out quietly.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it, nor would I expect that from you. But when you were saying those things, what was he firing back? What was he saying?
He was kind of laughing. He thought it was great. I was like, the fuck, man. I was teaching. I trained down here in Nicatones, and I was at the gym. I was in the parking lot pacing and screaming, veins going out of my forehead. And honestly, at the end of it, he tried to say a few things. I just kept barking. And at the end of it, he laughed, and he was like, I love it, and I love you, and let me see what I can do. See what I can do. But from the little bit that me and Dana have interacted, from what I know about him, I knew he liked what I said. I knew he was happy with the way I reacted. I think if I'd have just rolled over and taken it, I'd have got fucked over pretty bad. And I just let him know I'm not that type, yo. I'm not gonna take it like that. Not only did you not only that, not only did you take away like that. I've always wanted to be a UFC world champion, but to be able to fight as an underdog at Madison Square Garden as a headliner, like, come on, man, like that was like world perfect dream scenario. And not only that, but I'm about to get ripped and ragged on Twitter for that shit. I said, these fools on Twitter about to rag me, man. So I think he liked what I said, honestly, and okay. He did right by me as best he could after that.
Yeah. So to your point, so then she goes back, Valentina does, to 231. She fights Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And then, of course, it's announced eventually that you're going to be fighting Roxanne Modafferi. What was the reaction when that fight, the one between Valentina and JJ, got rebooked? Did people blow you up then, too?
No, I mean, people blow me up on Twitter all the time. They still are, so whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. Like, I think Valentina and Joanna got rebooked before I signed with Roxanne.
I think that's right. Yep.
Yeah, people, yeah. I see what people say. Like, oh, that's the real fight to make. That's the one. Finally, this is the right thing. I think it's the dumbest option ever. I think it's stupid, and I think the fight's gonna be boring. But it is what it is. It's happening, and that's how life goes sometimes.
Let's follow up on that actually for a minute here, because I'll be honest. I did not think that your fight with Valentina, if it was going to take place, was the appropriate choice as a headliner. But I didn't think it was a bad fight to make for that division. And I actually think I'm with you. Look, I don't know what's going to happen in Valentina versus JJ, but I look at it a bit like Mousasi versus McDonald. Why is it that you think that's a dumb fight to make?
I think one, Joanna's not a flyweight. So, we're trying to build a division. I get that we're in the super fight era, but it's a brand new division, and like a lot of the guys will have big super fights for title belts. But at the end of the day, you're in a scenario where if Joanna wins, is she going to stay? Is she going to stay at flyweight, and is she going to defend the belt? Or is she going to say, oh, hey, this is cute, let me go back to strawweight? I don't think she is. I think she wants to handle her business with Rose, and I think she wants to go back to 115. So if Joanna wins, we're right back where we started, where the whole division is held up now. Brand new division is held up, and this girl is the champ, and she don't even want to defend it. Now, Valentina wins. Okay, Valentina's the champ. Everybody wanted that. Whoop, whoop. And hopefully she'll fight soon. She seems to be a pretty active fighter, so best case scenario, Valentina wins, but you're rushing her into a belt. Valentina doesn't have any more fights at flyweight than any of the rest of us. We're all sitting at 2 or 3 fights at flyweight because it's a brand new division. So you're rushing her to the belt, and I just think a super fight in a brand new division is silly. And on top of that, they're both Muay Thai fighters, and a lot of times when you have the same styles match up, the fight can be boring. I think they're going to dance around for 25 minutes and jab at each other and paw at each other and see what happens. Neither one of them have really been known for their finishing power or prowess or aggressiveness, per se. So I think just stylistically, it's not the most exciting fight to me either. Like, unless they're going to do true Muay Thai, like Thai, and stand in front of each other and fucking bang. And I don't really see that happening. If they do, I'll shut up, I'll be wrong, and I'll be happy. But I don't think they are. I think they're going to dance around and pitter-pat and, teeth kick their way to whoever wins this thing.
All right, so that brings us back to you. Now you have this fight with Roxanne Modafferi. You took the fight. Can we infer from that you like this fight?
Yeah, I like it. I like this fight. Why not? I fought Roxanne before. She's still top ranked. She's still, top ranked in the division. It's short notice. I like this fight. I like it. Yeah, I'll be honest. When it was first offered to me, I was so fired up about being stripped from the title fight that I was just like, whatever. But I had to really quickly change my mind on it and focus, because at the end of the day, it's a fight, and you want to go into each and every fight at your very best, and mentally at your best, physically at your best, technically at your best. So, I like it. It was offered to me. I looked at the numbers. I talked to my coaches, and my team likes it, so I like it, and I'm ready to go.
Now, does that mean, do you believe that if you beat Roxanne, let's say very quickly, like super authoritatively, the whole nine, let's say if that happens, do you believe you should get the winner of Valentina versus JJ?
Absolutely. I think I should have got the winner of all these title shots. Based on strategically how this division was built, it was through the Ultimate Fighter. I ripped through the division. All right, I was supposed to fight Nico. I fucked up the weight cut. I felt like Nico asked me to be her first title defense. Didn't happen. They gave it to Valentino. Nico got stripped. I beat Lauren in the meantime to prove that my weight is good. And I feel like based on how this division is coming along, I should have been next in line anyway. So if I beat, when I beat Roxanne, then why not? Like, I don't see, like, what more case do you have not to give me a title shot now? Like, what else are you gonna tell me? What? I made the weight twice. I beat Lauren, who was a top ranked fighter in Tough. She was a top ranked fighter at a Tough. I ran through the rest of the division. Now I beat Roxanne in the Tough tournament. She was number 1 at the time. She's still top 10. I beat her again. Like, come on. Like, what else y'all want me to do?
Where do you think Nico is now in the division?
I think based on her performance in the house, she's got to be up there. And she's in a kind of similar situation where I was, where she's proven that she can beat some good girls. Now she got to prove that this is the proper weight class for her. But I would put her top of the division. I think her first fight back should be someone to keep her in the heat of things.
Now, are there any weight cut concerns heading into 230, especially given the relatively short notice?
No, I'm in good shape. I've worked very closely with the UFC PI, Clint and Bull, and all the good guys at the PI. So, we're good to go. I did exactly, ever since what happened last year at the Tough finale, I've worked directly with the UFC in regards to my nutrition, my conditioning, and things of that nature. and I'm right where everybody wants me to be. I'm actually a little bit ahead of schedule. I'm like 2 pounds ahead of schedule. So, we're good to go.
All right. I always like hearing that. I like hearing fired up fighters. We're a little bit short on time, but this is a question that's been lingering in my mind. You and I are from the same neck of the woods, right? We're pretty close. You were from Maryland. You were training with Team Lloyd Irvin, and you ended up in New Jersey with Frankie, and of course, I call them the East Coast Super Friends, Ricardo Almeida, all those guys, and Mark Henry. How did you end up there? I don't even know the story about that.
Okay, quick history. I'm actually born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts. Always got to give a shout out to my true hometown, Springfield, Massachusetts. I ended up in Maryland doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years under Team Lloyd Irvin, like you said. I ended up leaving Team Lloyd Irvin not too much right after my Aspen Ladd fight in January. And shortly after that, they announced the Ultimate Fighter. I went into the Ultimate Fighter kind of like a Ronin, kind of like lone star fighter. Let's figure things out. And I kind of prayed and put it out into the universe that whatever happens at the Ultimate Fighter, I'll find my next team. I want to find a team that's close-knit, that's loyal, that's hardworking. And I'm going to just pray that I find that when I go out to Ultimate Fighter. So I saw Justin Gaethje. I know he works with Trevor Whitman. I saw Eddie Alvarez, and he's a Mark Henry, Ricardo Almeida guy. So I was like, man, both those squads are good. So we'll just leave it up to the fight gods, whoever picks me. And Eddie picked me. And within like the first 24 hours of working with Coach Mark, I knew that was my guy. I don't know if Mark knew I was his girl, but I was like, this is my guy. I love Mark. I love Mark Henry, and we clicked right away. I met Jamal Patterson, Ricardo Almeida, and so as soon as the show wrapped up, really after I met them, like early on into the show, but I didn't want to say it in front of the cameras and like make it a thing. We kind of spoke off to the side and was like, I'm following you guys back to Jersey when this thing is over. And they were like, yeah, we'd love to have you. I met Marlon Moraes, a lot of good guys. So, yeah, after the show wrapped, it lined up perfectly because my fiance, my girl, is from New York. And so she had relocated to New York while I was filming Tough. So I had a place to stay right away. So I crashed. I moved in with my girl in New York City and was kind of commuting back and forth to Jersey for the first couple of months. And now I'm living full-time in Brick. So it just, everything fell in the line quite nicely. So, and I love Jersey. I love Mark. I love Ricardo, Jamal, Henzo, and the rest of the guys on the team. It's great.
Well, I'll have to talk to you more about that when I see you for Media Day out in New York City. But thank you for spending some time with us, Sijara. I look forward to your fight with Roxanne. I hope you get what you're looking for, and I can't wait to see you fight. Thank you so much.